Still sits the schoolhouse by the road, a ragged beggar sunning. Around it still the sumacs grow, and blackberry vines are running. Those are the words of John Greenleaf Whittier, 1869, describing America's earliest institutions of learning, the one-room schoolhouse. It's been reported that for almost 250 years, the country school was the backbone of American education. As late as 1913, one-half of the school children in the United States were enrolled in the country's 212,000 one-room schools. The country school was a powerful cultural symbol to many Americans. With time came consolidation of school districts, eliminating one by one the country schools, until all that was left were empty shells housing only memories of a simpler and seemingly more carefree time. The spirit of the country schools can still be felt at times. If you happen upon a still-standing school along one of Michigan's back roads, they're still there in dwindling numbers, but there are happily some being restored, one way or another, as museums or historical sites. Most, though, are succumbing to the elements and disappearing from the landscape altogether if they haven't already. A concern is growing in Michigan that the memories and the heritage of the country school may be lost, so much so that a statewide association has been formed to document all known facts and locations of the schools. It's called the Michigan One-Room Schoolhouse Association and has been meeting regularly and holding conferences since May 1993. Our journey today in Michigan Magazine takes us to the Jesse Besser Museum in Alpena, where we meet Bob Kujula, whose interest in the one-room schoolhouse has taken him down nearly 10,000 miles of northern Michigan backroads, with the support and backing of the Besser Museum. Bob has since 1991 photographed 218 schools and videotaped 53 of them, and has gained the recognition for outstanding work by the Michigan One-Room Schoolhouse Association. This is a unique project, kind of a massive project, isn't it, Bob?
Sure
How
is,
in the
yeah.
world did you get involved in collecting all this information about one-room schoolhouses in northern Michigan?
Well, shortly after I retired from the Besser Company, which is just a half a mile down the road here, I stopped by the museum here to speak to the director and see what I could do in line of any kind of volunteer work. And somehow we got on the subject of old schools, and I recalled seeing a lot of them around in the county, so I thought that might be a good thing I could do.
But that started in Alpena County.
I started in Alpena County, yeah.
And now we've progressed to you traveling throughout this state, the northern part of the state, and finding these one-room schoolhouses that are still present, but probably abandoned, but they're still irreparable or something that can be preserved. Is that right?
And some of them are used as hunting camps. Some of them are used part-time residences, and several of them are even museums. Quite a few.
So what did you do? I mean, you started doing the ones in Alpena County, and then what was the progress? How did you branch out, and what did you look for in finding these?
Well, I had such good luck in Alpena County here because at one time there was 67 schools in this county alone back in 1924. So I checked with the director here, and we thought we could branch out to try the surrounding counties first. And then we had such good luck there, I decided, well, maybe I can get a few more to preserve some of the history of these early one-room schools.
So where did you go to, say you went to Alpena, did some of the ones in Alpena, then you went to the next county. Where in the world would you start to track these down?
Well, before I started, I wrote to the County Road Commission offices and local office, something like that. And they in turn sent me old early maps of that particular county. And some of the early maps did have marked school, and so I just transferred that information on their current county map. So then I went on from there. But then when I got to the location, I've always asked people in that neighborhood if they knew of any schools around. And that's all from every place I stopped and went. These people at these different locations gave me other locations.
So you pretty much found a map that was reminiscent of that era, that the school would be in operation. And then you went and started kind of knocking on doors and talking to people in the area?
Yeah.
And I bet you found some fascinating information that way.
Yeah, I got some great stories. There's one, I stopped at a farm, and the schoolhouse happened to be across the street. So the fellow went to this, him and his brother went to this school. So he began to tell me all about it, but one little story, he says, remember when he and his brother were younger, when his parents went to come to Alpena to do the shop, and they got his father's 30-30 out, and they were shooting at the bell across the street, and ring the bell. That was one little story that I come across. You know.
And there's a lot of heritage in one-room schools. They are a kind of a dinosaur of the past, something that was eaten up by consolidation and things of that sort. But there's a lot of schools, like you said, these one-room schools are out there that do have special meaning to the people who went to school there, and it should be preserved as a treasure that we have. How many schools did you find so far in Northern Michigan? Have you got a total on that at all?
I believe it was 218. Then the more the people heard about it, when they sent information to us, and of course we sent out questionnaires to many people that we could possibly do, and they in turn sent us photos of schools that were no longer standing. So we've got a lot of them here that I've never seen because they were down, but people sent us in photos of these early schools that are gone.
Quite a longing you've got here. Now, have you ever went into the situation where you thought you'd find a school that was still up, erected, but you went there and found nothing? I mean, it was nothing but maybe foundation?
One particular one was in Grand Traverse County. I had a map and it showed me location. I went right to the exact amount of miles to this one crossroad, and I knew I had the right location because all I could see there was a hand water pump out in front of the building, of where the building was.
Responses from Bill's requests for anyone with information about the one-room schoolhouses has been wonderful, especially with the return questionnaires he's been receiving. So many people recall having attended one-room schoolhouses in northern Michigan, as students as well as teachers. Some of the reflections include memories that were acquired as very young children and will never be forgotten, like this one from Alpena County's Dean School. I remember the big stove in the back of the room where it was really hot and the air smelled like wool garments drying. Ringing the school bell and cleaning blackboards was an honor. Or this one from the Waverly School in Sheboygan County. Once a year we'd have a box social at the school. The girls would fix a nice lunch and put it in a very pretty decorated box. The men and boys would bid money for the boxes, not knowing who had fixed what. And whoever bought your box lunch shared it with you after all the boxes were auctioned. The money was used for additional pencils, erasers, and chalk. Here's a memory from the Greens School of Montmorency County. I walked 1.5 miles to school. Some children walked 3 miles. My brother Vincent was crippled and couldn't walk, so we made a harness for Amos, our black and white border collie. We hitched Amos to a wagon, and he pulled Vincent to school in spring and fall. In the winter, Amos was hitched to a sled for the trek to school with his precious load. And this one from the Kane School in Montmorency County. One of my special memories was the year that Viola Cooper taught. Her father-in-law kept bees, and one day she brought the ingredients for pancakes and honey to put on them. She baked them on the heating stove, and we all had our fill of delicious pancakes. I remember I ate 7. And will never forget how good they tasted. Many of those that have recalled the days of one-room schoolhouses have also sent along or donated to the Jesse Besser Museum little mementos and keepsakes that were given as souvenirs to graduating students. Bob tells us that occasionally days will bring pleasant surprises in the mail, like today. Bob received a class photo from a 98-year-old woman who was a student that was pictured in the photo when she was 14 years old. It's the 1913 class of Alcona County's Norwegian School. Besides students and teachers who gladly recall those early days, Bob has found the people who now own the remaining standing schoolhouses very receptive about relaying the history as they know it. Some houses have been turned into homes, museums, and in some cases restaurants and other tourist attractions. But all too many of them have sadly given way to the elements. But the idea of preserving the memory of the old one-room schoolhouses during their heydays is what is most satisfying to Bob. The results of Bob's one-room school project have been equally applauded by his sponsor, the Jesse Besser Museum, as Museum Director Dennis Bodum was quick to point out.
We're just absolutely delighted with Bob's work. His efforts on our behalf, over 3,000 hours of volunteer effort and time, close to 9,000 miles in travel over the years. It's just been a fantastic one-person effort, a real labor of love on his part. And he's gotten the accolades of One Room Schoolhouse Association here in the state. The Historical Society has recognized his efforts and his achievements, and we certainly do.
Tell you what, it's a fascinating subject that we didn't realize was something that had to be done in the area. I mean, there's so many one-room schoolhouses that we're not aware of.
Oh, they're just, when we started out, a group downstate who was doing a preliminary record on one-room schoolhouses had 4 schoolhouses in Alpena County. Today, as you know, we've got more than 50 identified.
My goodness, it's amazing. It's a little treasure trove that's being uncovered here in the county and through northern Michigan. Well, Bob, we appreciate you taking time to tell us a little bit about the project going on, and once again, people should be aware that there is a statewide, more or less, a convention goes on.
Yes, there's a One-Room School Association. Every year they meet at a different location.
And it's a place that, if you're interested in it, that's the place to go and get your feet wet. And I'm sure that they're open for volunteers to help.
They certainly are, yes.
Scout this out and finally document what we have here in the state of Michigan. Bob, thank you very much for appearing in Michigan Magazine, and we wish you the best of luck, and we'll probably see you on those back roads, those highways and byways.
Thank you very much. We enjoyed having you.